While the country spent about 800 million, okay, there's a gap here, on fireworks every year at a cost of only 74 million, it is set to launch a rocket into space to orbit Mars and gather data about the planet. So while the country spent about 800 million on fireworks every year at a cost of only 74 million, it is set to launch a rocket into space to orbit Mars and gather data about the planet. Where is the error? Can you identify the error, please? Yeah, it's an easy one, right? Because it's right there. I mean, we're talking about the country, which means we're talking about a specific country, which means we're talking about a singular subject, which means the verb should be singular verb, which means spend changes to spends. That's it. Part A is where the error is. Okay? Yeah? Cool. So everybody unanimously agrees on this because it's a relatively easier one. No confusion there. How we wish we had questions like this, right, in the exam. General tense, somebody said spending. No. Spends. Right? This is what's happening. See, the difference between simple present tense and present continuous tense, the person who said spending, I'm just explaining this to you, right? We're talking about something that happens, if it's a fact or if it's something that's happened out of routine or a habit, or this is, so it's a fact that the country has spent about 800 million on fireworks, right? That's data that we have. So it's a fact. So when you're referring to a fact, just stick to simple present tense. You don't have to complicate it. Don't bring in present continuous tense. You follow what I'm saying? Question 4. Though the idea of high-speed trains is appealingly, studies show that countries which have such trains have found that they are much more expensive than expected and are not used much. So, where is the error? So quickly, to put people at rest, since everybody is unanimously coming again and saying it's part B, right, which I agree. What is to R? Who said that? That's an A, no? Good point you pointed out, okay? The reason why, because why are you saying change is to R? Because you got your subject wrong, Baba. The subject is not high-speed trains. The subject is the idea. Got it? Identify the subject correctly. The subject here is the idea, which is a singular subject. Okay, remember, do not get confused between the prepositional phrase coming between the subject and the verb. This is a prepositional phrase. The idea is something, right? What about the idea of high-speed trains? So, the subject is the idea, which is a singular subject. You don't have to change is to are in part B. Incorrect. So, part A. Got it? Now, we are looking at a word that describes the idea, right? Obviously, describing words are adjectives. I have an adverb here, appealingly. So, that's where the error is. The error is in part B, right? Change appealingly to appeal. The idea is appealing. I need an adjective describing the idea. Appealing is my adjective describing the idea, not appealingly. Got it? Very simple, right? We know this. So, if somebody gives an idea, you can say, hey, that's a very appealing idea. How can I use appealingly, which is an adverb? I can say, let's say you're decorating something, decorating a table for a function. So, I can say, the table was set appealingly, right? The adverb modifying the action set. How was it set? Appealingly. Yeah? Adjective, adverb. So, it's to do with now word class error, right? I need an adjective and not an adverb in this context. Error is in part B. Our next question type is spot the error. So, let's look at it. Let's read the question in front of us. Amazon will like to use its Prime membership to send personalized recommendations and digital coupons to consumers. So, we know that the subject is about Amazon, right? And as soon as we read it, we know something sounds off, right? Something sounds off with respect to part A, obviously, because I know that Amazon and the primary verb, right? The primary verb is use, action word. Amazon will use its Prime membership to do what? To send personalized recommendations and digital coupons to who? To consumers. So obviously, this other verb, right, doesn't make sense there. Not will like to use. We can, I mean, you can also look at it like that, right? But keeping in mind what Amazon is trying to achieve for its consumers, there is a high chance or there's a high probability. The tendency for Amazon to do this to use its membership to send personalized recommendations and digital coupons to consumers is high, on the higher end. So the right, I need an adverb to intensify or to modify the verb use, right? So instead of saying Amazon will like to use, right, it's not more of a, we're saying Amazon obviously wants to do something different, wants to retain its consumers, wants to increase its consumer base. What can it do to attract the consumers? Personalized recommendations, digital coupons. Take it. Be happy with us, right? So the tendency for them to do that for their consumers, to increase their consumer base, is higher, which means I need an adverb. So not like, likely, right? So Amazon will likely, so this is for Amazon to do something like this is on the higher end. That's what it means, right? So I need a adverb intensifying the verb use. So obviously the error is in part A. But even if you can't get, right, if you can't get to the root of it, like some of you came back and said, Amazon will like to use, right? So even if you, that's the beauty of spot the error, right? You don't have to worry about whether it's will like to use or likely to use. As long as you said part A, you still get your mark. But in order for us to understand the concept behind why likely is more effective or is the most appropriate one, is for you to understand the context as a whole. Yeah, let's look at the second one. During the decade-long UPA rule, Sonia structured her politics over populist programs such as the MGNREGS targeting rural voters. So what do you think about this? Where do you think the error is, or do you think there is an error at all in this? So during the decade-long UPA rule, Sonia structured her politics. So what is the, tell me what the action word is here. In this context, guys, what is the verb, the action word? Right, it's structured. So Sonia is my subject. Sonia did what? She structured her what? Her politics. And then you have over populist programs. Now that doesn't make sense, right? What is the meaning of structured here? Just take a wild guess, no? What can it mean logically? We're talking about politics. To structure something means what? She's putting together, right? She's to structure her politics means she's putting together. So which means if I'm putting together something and they've given me examples, populist programs such as, and it's targeting rural voters, fine. So when I structure something, I'm always structuring something. What's the word? What's my collocation? Planning. Yes. So what's the collocation is you always design, okay, fine, right? The collocation for you to remember is you structure something around, you make plans around something, right? This is a logical construction. So she's putting together her politics around these populist programs, using this as a base, right? So if you look it up, right, most of the words that will associate in terms of a collocation is around. You can structure your, see, for example, I can say I can structure my time around the way I prepare. I can't say I structure my time over the way I prepare, right? I'm structuring, I'm putting together, I'm planning my time around or about, or on the look in terms of how do I segregate for specific subjects, right? So I structure my time around my preparation, or I structure my time around the number of tests that I take, not over. So that's where it's an incorrect preposition which is in B, and that's where the error is. So it's a very technical error, right? You structure something around something, not over. There could be exceptions, but for the most part, it makes sense to say that you plan around something. You put things together around something. So error is in part B. Okay, let's move on.